All right, awesome. Welcome, everyone. This is Hackathon for Social Good 2022 Project Demo Day. So Women Who Code, we'll start off with our Code of Conduct. Women Who Code is an inclusive community dedicated to providing an empowering experience for everyone who participates in or supports our community. Our events are intended to inspire women to excel in technology careers, and anyone who is here for this purpose is welcome. We do not tolerate harassment of members in any form. Our Code of Conduct applies to all Women Who Code events, such as this one, in our online communities, such as our Slack channels and social media. You can read the full version at our website at this link. At Women Who Code, our mission is to empower diverse women to excel in technology careers. Our vision, a tech industry where diverse women and historically excluded people thrive at every level. All right. Welcome, everyone. This is Hackathon for Social Good 2022. Today is our project demo day and top teams announcement. Let's go ahead and get started. So we'll start by sharing just a little bit about the hackathon. We are the hackathon organizers. I am Stephanie Rideout, Leadership Fellow for Women Who Code Python. And I'm joined by Anjali Menon, Leadership Fellow for Blockchain, and Zarreen Reza, Leadership Fellow for Data Science. So for the hackathon, our caption is use your tech superpowers to create a solution for the social good. The Hackathon for Social Good 2022 offers an amazing and engaging learning experience for the Women Who Code community while we develop projects that promote social good. So as you can see, we are progressing very nicely at this point. So here is today, and we're going to have one more event for the hackathon this Friday. All right, so let's start with our talking about a little bit about the project presentations. So teams were tasked with creating a brand new project featuring a social cause, and here were some suggested social causes, and using at least one of the provided tech stacks. So the judging criteria, hackathon projects are being evaluated on the following criteria: social impact, the level of impact the project would have on society, creativity and innovation, uniqueness of the idea and approach to solving the challenge, technical execution, use of the chosen tech stack to solve the challenge, completeness, is the code complete? Is there a working demo? Presentation, clearly written challenge statement with a video demo or visual presentation, sharing what you learned from the experience. So these were our hackathon judges. Our first judge was Carrie Rich from Shutterstock, who is one of our amazing partners. Really appreciated her amazing effort in helping us review and evaluate all of the projects. And then from Women Who Code, our team consisted of Anjali, Archana, Sapphire, Stephanie, and Zarreen. And so for the presentations, we have 6 teams who were selected to present their projects today. So the presentation order is according to the date that each of the teams submitted it. So there's no hints to who's going to be in the top 3 from this order. After each team completes their formal presentation, they'll be given about 9 minutes to do so. There will be an open Q&A when the audience and judges can ask questions. So if you want to share a question, please share your question in the chat, or you can raise your hand using the raise hand feature in Zoom, and someone will call on you when it's your turn to ask your question. So the top 3 teams will be announced at the end of today's session, and the top 3 teams will be invited to present your projects at the Women Who Code Block Data Pi Summit, which is this Friday, July 22nd. All right, so let's get started. So Anjali, would you like to introduce the first team?
Yes, of course, Stephanie. I'm very excited to hear about the teams presenting their project ideas. So the first team that will be going is the Multicultural Marvels. In the team, we have Jen, Ali, Karina, Akanksha, and Surbi. So the team Multicultural Marvels, would you like to share your screen and start off with the presentation?
Yes, I will. One moment. Sorry, we're just trying to share our screen here. Yeah.
Okay, are we sharing our screen?
I think that was, Karina, are you going to share the screen? That's fine.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Before you get started, could you please either select slideshow or presenter mode? Thank you so much.
Okay. You started. There you
Go ahead, Karina.
Karina, I think you're on mute. Yeah.
Karina, you are on mute.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Sorry, guys. First of all, thank you for this opportunity, this demo day hackathon for social good. Our team, Multicultural Marvels, Project Code Donations, and Social Good, women recently released from prisons. Our solution, and you know more about it throughout the presentations. And our team, amazing women in different countries, work together for the solutions, code donations. Akansha, Jen, Ali, Serbi, and me, Karina from Brazil. Thank you. Okay, can you put it to the next slide, please, Karina? Okay, thank you. So we thought that we would approach the Hackathon for Social Good by reaching out to an organization that might need some direct assistance and to try to figure out how we could offer them support in a technical way. So Ali and I found an organization in our hometown, so in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada. It's called the Second Chance Foundation, and they offer a lot of support to the community, but especially for women who have just been released from prison, who are often an underserved group of people. And the women that are released from prison often don't have any belongings. So they're able to get a roof over their heads, maybe some food, and reconnect with family, but it's a real struggle to get back on their feet. And one of the ways the Second Chance helps is by offering goods to these women so that they can have furniture in their home and clothing and other household items that might be helpful for them to get started in terms of next steps. So we saw a technical need there where it's very challenging for the organization to look for donors. And so we wanted to help them in a technical way to be able to reach out to more donors that are in the neighborhood, but don't realize that the Second Chance Foundation needs donations. And so we thought that we would try to find people who are offering goods on platforms like Kijiji, for example, for a low price or for free, that might consider donating their goods to the Second Chance Foundation instead.
Yep.
And so now the next slide, please, Karina.
So what we did is we created a static website to mimic Kijiji, because what we realized is that we wanted to web scrape Kijiji originally, but that they make it pretty hard, and we had issues with legality of web scraping Kijiji. So what we did is we downloaded some data from Kijiji and then put it on our local host website, and then web scrape that. And our web scraper looks at the locale of the items that are posted on Kijiji. If they're at a low cost, advertised for $50 or below, because essentially we're thinking that if somebody wants $1,000 for their item, they probably don't want to donate it. The Second Chance has a list of items that they're looking for. They're not looking for everything, but if they have a couple of clients that are looking for, beds and chests of drawers, those are the items they're looking for. So the web scraper looks for those specific items. And for this demo, we used AWS Light Sail and we created the web scraper in Django framework, and also use the Django framework to create the local host, and then Python and Beautiful Soup for creating the web scraper. And then we stored the data on a Postgres website. All right, Akensha, do you want to take it from here?
Okay. Yeah. So this is the as like Alice said, yeah, we have built. This is our website, the Kijiji platform, Kojojo platform, which is like Kijiji. With the data from Kijiji, we have take reference for now because of the web scraping on our local host, and that website, that data is maintained in our Postgres database. So from our Python web scraper, which will scrape the localhost website, which is our Kojojo platform, and try to find the things which are second hand for Chance Foundation in need below $50. So the things which are being sold in the Kojojo platform below $50, which are things like bed, furniture, or tables, which are needed for the second-hand Chance Foundation, that will scrape using our web scraper script, and it will email to the those users or the sellers saying that the second-hand Chance Foundation is in need of these goods. Are you willing to donate it? So they can reply to the mail, or they can contact directly to the Second Chance Foundation. In that way, the Second Chance Foundation will fulfill its things which are in need. And yeah, this is our architecture of how we have thought our solution to solve this problem. And yes, next, maybe the demo.
Yeah, thank you. So I will share my screen. So I think I need to be host, Karina. Okay. Okay, so I'll share my screen. Yeah, that's my entire screen. Okay, so let's go here for the demo. So this is our local host website. It's based off of, Kojojo, so a play on words is Kijiji. This is all the data that we found. You can see that the email is none because that's private data. And these links go to the individual Kijiji website. So this is a solid wood table, they're looking $150. So what we did is we will web scrape this local host, looking for items that are in our list and match the area code that we're looking for. So we got some stuff here. So you can see here it says found Kojojo user with item vintage dresser for $30. It keeps on searching and finds another item. And then what it does is it emails the user. Like in the real world, it would email the user and say, hey, do you would you consider donating for this item? And directing them back to the Second Chance website. So for next steps for us, we are in conversation with Kijiji to be able to actually web scrape their website, or for them to provide a open API for us, or for partners. So that's something that we're in conversation with. We're not sure where we're going to go with that, but we are looking at other charities to add on to this idea, because there's more than one charity that's going to be looking for household items that are available in Kijiji. So yeah, is anybody else want to say anything that I missed?
Oh, maybe we'll just go to the final page.
So Karina, can you share?
Learned a lot from this project. A lot of people learned different technical things. about, web scraping. We also learned about women in the prison system. A lot of us didn't know a lot about what was going on for this underserved group of women in our community. We also learned a lot about things like the Kijiji terms and conditions in terms of what you're allowed to do or not allowed to do. And we really learned also that it's very valuable to actually have an organization that you're working with directly, because you can really see what kind of need they have and really have more of a conversation about what would be most helpful. And of course, there are lots of technical things that were learned. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything else.
Sounds good.
Okay, so thank you, everybody. And so we'll take questions.
Thank you.
Okay, that's great, Multicultural Marvels. Yeah, I think that was a wonderful presentation. So any of you have any questions for the team? Okay, so while we are waiting for others to ask some questions, I have a few questions. And I think the social impact idea is very unique and innovative. I really liked it. I would like to know more about how did you come across this idea? How did you finalize this idea?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a full circle. When we started, like the first day, you guys presented an idea that was using Twitter, and it was about endangered animals. And basically, if someone mentions endangered animals, they'll like provide context and information about those animals. So we thought about that, and we started talking with Beverly, and we just kind of realized that that's the same idea, just using Kijiji instead. So that's how we started. It's actually full circle.
Wonderful. I think that's really great. So there is one question in the chat from Sanya. What are the tech stacks used in this project?
Yeah, Kensha, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we have used Django for the web application to display with the application which was showing, and to store the data, we have used Postgres for the data which is shown in the application. And yeah, we have deployed it in AWS Lightsail also, and for web scraping like Beautiful Soup and Python. These are the tech stack we have used. And yes, with this, because I haven't done Django and Python much. We learned with this project also, and we shared with the teams, everyone, and we were like doing a lot of sessions together, learning and doing together. So that was a great way of connecting and learning together. So thank you, Monoculture.
Wow, that's great. Thank you for explaining that, Akanksha. And it's good that you bonded. And I know, I guess the name of the team is Multicultural Marvels, because all of you are from different parts of the world. So I think that's really amazing. So we have one more question. How do you plan on expanding this project?
Yeah, Jen, do you want to take it?
Sure. So what we're doing right now is we're actually, hopefully even as soon as next week, we're going to be able to speak with some officials from Kijiji about potentially making this a reality for the Second Chance Foundation, and also possibly for other charities. So what we're going to do now is we're visiting Ali and I are visiting the Second Chance next week in person. We're going to find out a little bit more about what they're doing and trying to help out technically, because we're not sure this project will necessarily pan out for them, but we want to still help them. But we are also going to find out if Beverly, the organization leader, if she knows of any other charities that she would suggest that would also need physical donations, because we're hoping to bring in other charities, and maybe Kijiji could be a partner in helping charities to find donations easily without having to have a lot of volunteer manual labor trying to go into it.
Yeah, and she, I'm sure, knows, has contact within the homeless associations. And I feel like people that are coming out of homelessness may also need a lot of the same benefits here.
Yes. Yeah, I'd like to add something. Overall, like we are thinking like it may be kind of hub for the social organization who can try to find the things which with the platforms like Kijiji and maybe like Facebook Marketplace to get the things for the organization, and they can go through our hub, like the hub of social organization in need. So we are thinking in that way.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And I wish you all the best for, and I think this is an amazing cause, and hope that you're able to like reach to a lot more organizations, and all the best on your journey.
Thank you.
And I can see that from the chat, you're getting a lot of love. I think this project is being appreciated by a lot of our members. So kudos to the team.
Yeah, thank you, Anjali.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
All right.
Amazing job to Multicultural Marvels. Fantastic project. I loved it.
Okay, that's great. So moving on to the next team, we have Connection Generation. From the team, we have Laurel, Jolene, Leilani, Jenny, and Jordan. So would you like to go ahead with your presentation?
Yes, I'll be presenting for my team, and let me just get set up here.
Sure.
Alrighty, so good morning, everybody. My name is Laurel Masser, and today I'm going to be telling you about our project we titled "You're Not Alone: Mental Health Data in the United States." Our project team consisted of Jenny Argota and Leilani Quesada, who worked on our web development. We had Jordan Taylor, who operated as a project analyst and project support. Myself, Laurel Masser, I was the team lead and subject matter expert for mental health. I actually have a 10-year career in social work, so that was a big contribution of mine. And then Julian Glenn, our rockstar data visualization data analyst. Our project focused on mental health, specifically a lack of education, a lack of awareness, and a lack of positive perception, and the inherent complexity of mental health disorders themselves, and also in seeking treatment. The project was focused on normalizing and recognizing mental illness in the United States, igniting action for those that see it and feel compelled to maybe be a part of the political process, and to centralize information. The project, You're Not Alone: Health Data in the United States, is a single-page web app focused on bringing education, information, and resources around mental health to the public. We strive to build a friendly, interactive web application showcasing information and resources made in the form of data visualizations aimed at creating visibility and reducing the stigma around mental illness and mental health. And why this matters. The application combines information from several sources, some of which can be lengthy reports, hard to navigate documents, maybe, information finders that are just made by a nonprofit, and they might not be very intuitive. To display multiple visualizations accompanied by short captions with more information available, aimed at showing that there are other people experiencing mental health, mental illness, treating their mental illness, in caring for themselves, and that they are not just a statistic. It encourages people to seek help, facilitates coalition building, and influences policy change. The tech stack we used was Tableau and Jupyter Notebooks for the data analytics and visualizations, Python and Flask for the web server and site framework, and HTML and CSS for the styling. This is a demo. It is silent, so you're not missing anything by not hearing it. This is just me running through the website. You can see that it has a responsive design, designed with Bootstrap. We've got our navigation bar coming through. You can see that each caption includes a modal with more resources available and a little bit more information behind the data visualization. This one is a big graph that shows how common mental illness is throughout the United States. We were able to integrate the Tableau dashboards into the website using their API. We linked outside resources that I was aware of, that I really liked and I used in my work, that, sort of were already available, and I felt like were really friendly and interactive. This one's really cool. It's a heat map of facilities per state. And this is a finder, so you can go in and find different facilities throughout different areas. This is for the Oakland area. So you can see that there are resources available. And this last one shows, actually I'm gonna pause because I'm very happy about this. I took the data from the last one and showed the facilities per population. So for example, while California had the most facilities, turns out Alaska has actually the most facilities per person. So it's a great place to be if you try that. Keeps on going. You can see, different infographics from large national organizations like NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and organizations we love. So we wanted to show the big organizations that are doing this work, and you can see our team down here and links to our LinkedIns. And again, responsive design. Okay, so that's a good thing. Okay. Sorry. We believe that this contributed to solutions by encouraging seeking help, again, facilitate coalition building and influence policy change. Some lessons we learned from a few of our team members here. From Julian, our data analyst, our team did a great job in incorporating everyone's skills to meet them at their level so that we could all contribute. It's very true. It was great to work towards clarifying our ideas, goals, and responsibilities. That was a big part of our process, was really just the process of collaborating. It was my goal in creating a team to create a team environment where we could grow as engineers and really create sort of an empathetic, collaborative learning environment. From Jordan, our project analyst, I never understood where the teamwork would come in with the programming. It was cool to see all the individual parts come together into the final product. I get it now. I learned a new framework called Flask. It's exciting to see what I'm learning today and can become. Jordan, it was really great having her join. She didn't have any recent tech experience and just really wanted to join in and did a great job kind of inserting herself where it made sense and learning some of the frameworks on her own time. And we had a lot of collaboration between, especially Julian and Leilani on the web framework and getting everybody just a part of things. And for me, as team lead, I learned that about 75% of the work is actually figuring out what to do and how to do it, and then the rest is doing it. So, there's a lot of organization work and just kind of coming together on what do we want to do. And there. So some of the next steps for this project, we'd like to launch the site and have it available through AWS Site Sale. We would like to expand collaboration and really have links for donating to these resources, maybe actual policy initiatives that are happening around related to the information that we have, and adding a clear call to action. What can you do and how can you be a part of this, whether you are a mental health service user or just a community member? You can find the code at my GitHub, Laurel Mosser / Hackathon for Social Good. And that's everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Laurel, for sharing. I think that was really amazing. The important thing is mental health is often ignored, and that's really good that your team worked on it. I also like the dashboard and even your website that you have formed. Really like that. So are there any questions that anybody has? Maybe just add it in the chat. Okay, while we are waiting for other questions, maybe Laurel, I can ask my question. So how do you think that the users can know about your website? So you talked about integration with the other platforms in the future. So if you could talk more about it.
That's a great question. I'm not quite sure. Maybe learning, I would love to learn more about Google search engine optimization, so that certain keywords like, I need help, or how many people in the United States have, mental illness, things like that. Maybe it could be linked from those other organizations. That would be great. Or local nonprofits who serve people maybe newly diagnosed could say, "Oh, check out this website. You're not the only one."
Yep, thank you for sharing that, Laurel. I mean, there are some other questions in the chat. Just a moment. Somebody has asked to share the GitHub link in the chat. So if you or any of your team member can share it.
Yeah, let me drop that in the chat.
And Sue has a question that where did the data come from?
Yeah, that was a big process. We had some different ideas about what we wanted to show in our data visualizations, but ultimately we had to go with what we could find. And so we found large data sets through, let me see here, I've got a link, through SAMHSA. Actually, let me just share this really fast. Oh, it's okay. I'm not sharing my screen, but a couple of the large mental health data organizations like SAMHSA, which is oh my gosh, I'm forgetting. But if you just Google large data set, what's that?
But is it the substance abuse and mental health organization here in America?
Yes, yeah. So the United States has a few organizations like the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. That's what it is. /data, data.gov. I think there was NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Yeah, that was some of the big ones here.
Okay, great. Maggie has a question that, was it hard to find meaningful, useful data?
Yes, yeah, that was a big challenge. We at first wanted to focus on, let Leilani, do you remember what the initial thing was? It was related to mental health, but yeah, we had a different idea, and so it was really hard to show that idea. A lot of the data had inconsistent, like it wouldn't have the state or the county. Oh, we wanted to show how many people have mental illness like around you, so by county. I thought that might be available, but it is not. So we just found other large data sets related to mental illness, and it's not a very popular topic. There's not great tracking around that, especially coming from the industry.
Can I jump in a little, Laurel? Can you hear me? I was going to jump in a little bit. So hi, I'm Julian Glenn. My video is not on, but I helped with some of with the visualizations and finding the data. It did take a while. I'm new to the field, and so I started with open source spaces. I know Laurel also found several resources as well. So between many of us, it took several hours just to scour, like she was saying, does it have all the information? Does it have the information we're looking for? And a lot of the resources we use were from the government. And so they have a 2 or more year delay. So trying to find kind of recent data, and then also semi-recent data because we wouldn't be able to find any information that was from, for example, yesterday, but from 2 years ago. And then just trying to take the things that were mostly already in a format that we could use and transition them into data, into a story that we could present.
Thanks for sharing that, Jolene. Of course, we understand getting the data is like one of the most difficult tasks, but you guys did a great job, and I can see like good comments coming for you guys in the chat. So great work. Great work, team.
Amazing. Amazing job, team. Thank you so much. Great presentation, Laurel.
All right. So now let's move on to the next team, Recycle Ninja. So we have Maggie, Undine, Mariam, and Nashmia. So team, would you like to go next and present?
Yes, I'll be presenting. One second. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Mariam Al-Mutinawi, and I will be presenting our product on behalf of the Recycle Ninja team. I would like to start off by thanking Stephanie, Anjali, Zarreen, and the WWCode members for giving us the opportunity to present our project today. So who are we? The Recycle Ninja team consists of 4 members: Undine, who worked on the back-end development, Nashmia on the front-end part, Maggie, who's the product manager, and myself, Mariam, who worked on the data analysis part. I'm pretty sure you all have noticed how the world is facing a problem when it comes to waste management and recycling decisions. People might face different recycling challenges from a city to another, where waste management rules may differ. So based on some research and data analysis we've done, we've noticed that in 2020, the world generated 2.24 billion tons of solid waste, which is equivalent to 0.79 kilograms per person a day. Unbelievable, right? Sadly, the population is rapidly increasing, and global waste is expected to increase more and reach 3.88 billion tons in 2050. And we can let that happen. So based on the observational distribution you see here, which shows us the different types of waste.
Miriam, can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah.
Your notes are covering the slides.
Oh, okay, 1 second.
Yeah.
Can you see now?
Still there.
I think if you share the window instead of the screen, it might work. I'm not sure about that though.
Oh, yeah. Okay, can you see now?
Wonderful.
Looks great.
Okay. So based on the observational distribution you see here, which shows us the different types of waste in a data set, we can notice that most of the waste isn't recycled, as 80% of the waste is not recycled. And since different cities has different waste management rules, so our team figured out a way to help and support individuals make recycling decisions easier to reduce waste. That's when the Recycle Ninja comes to the rescue. But what is it exactly and how does it promote social good? The Recycle Ninja is a web application that recommends the best recycling option for users based on their location and the waste at hand. The aim of the app is to encourage recycling and discourage contamination. It also tries to connect things that are usually different from a city to another. Here are the tech stack we've worked with for developing our software. We first off used Python as our primary programming language. Secondly, for the data analysis, we used Plotly, Matplotlib, Seaborn, Panda, and Pandas libraries in Python to get insights and illustrate our points. For the web development, we used Flask packages deployed with Heroku. It queries the database when you navigate to the Ninja part, to the Ninja part of the site, which you will see in a minute. The waste item, choices for the city that you have selected, and then it displays the waste stream when you hit submit. Then there's HTML and CSS to make the website more appealing and easier to navigate through. Finally, for the backend, which we faced some challenges with, because not all the data is actually being published into data sets from the communities. So we had to use Selenium package for web scraping the data from websites. As you can see from the following code, we've started out by going to the website page that actually has the information we need. We waited for the wizard widget and material list to so we can be able to find what we're looking for. Then we're finding the elements that are the alphabetical letters, which are clickable to expand the CSS selector. In the loop, we're expanding each element as well as the links they point out to. For example, acetone for A and whatever the result page is for acetone. Then we're appending to the list, RC list, which we have created. After that, everything is turned out into lists of lists combined into a single pandas data frame, as you can see. But this isn't where the web scraping part stops. There's more to retrieve from the links, as well as some data cleaning to have it all in one similar format, which is put into a database with fields of material, category, and instructions. Here's a final format of one of the files, which is then put with all the other cities in a database using SQL. Now for the demo part, I'll let my teammate Maggie walk us through the recorded demo to explain how the Recycle Ninja webpage actually works.
Hello, thank you for tuning in. My name is Maggie. In this 3 minutes video, I would like to walk you through how to interact with Recycle Ninja application. So this is a Recycle Assistant application that recommends the best recycling option for users based on their location. Right now in our database, we prepared 3 cities. And of course, the team will continue working on more city locations to improve our data. Just the other day, I was talking to my friend about this application, and she happened to live in Boston. She loves cooking, but always produces a lot of aluminum foil waste. She noticed this application and decided to check it out. So what happened is you can either scroll down and find aluminum foil or any garbage of your preference, and then you select submit. Here, the ninja recommend her to recycle when she's in Boston. So put this item in the recycling bin and make sure you're recycling it out by 6 a.m., right? And any other detailed information that's there. Just a couple weeks ago, she actually traveled to Toronto. So now when she moves around, she can also pick the city of her location, and now she's in Toronto. Well, she was cooking again and decided to perhaps just recycle aluminum foil like she used to do, right? But is that the case though? Let's see. So Toronto aluminum foil. Well, actually, in Toronto, aluminum foil is kind of garbage, belongs to garbage category, right? So it is better off for us to be more environmental conscious and following different city regulation and rules, depends on the garbage and also certainly your location. So that is a short demo for how to interact with this application. In this website, we also include our amazing team who work on this product so much. And then the other tab, we share the information on our analysis regarding this global recycling challenges. And the last area, we included different analysis in our database resources. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to hear more from you guys. Thank you. Hello, thank you for
we believe we could improve the product by including more cities so more people could benefit from it. To include guidance and useful resources for items that aren't in the database, such as similar websites we found on the internet like Earth 911 and TerraCycle. Include on-the-go options to nearby waste bins. And for our learnings, every team member learned different things throughout the hackathon, from programming to front-end skills, to new innovative ideas, and of course, had fun. We hope you liked it, and we thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Recycle Ninja. I think your project was really amazing. I loved the presentation and also the demo, the way the storytelling went by. It was really engaging. And I think this project is really good. So any questions? Please share your questions in the chat. Oh, that's great. You're getting great feedback in the chat. And Ali and Jen said, are saying that they live in Toronto and they would love to use this application. So you already have users here. That's really amazing. Yeah, I think it would be really great if you add more cities. So what is the plan going to be moving forward? If you could explain probably the next 3 months plan for this particular application that you're developing. Are you hoping to continue to work after the hackathon is over?
Yes, of course, or maybe.
I can take that. This is really initial concept because it can evolve a lot more, right? Our initial idea was to actually set up a phone application. So iOS app, but we don't have that skill set, and we were so lucky to have Nashmea and also Dina come into the team to kind of set up this website. Because imagine if you're traveling, it's actually more useful if you have it at hand. And on top of that, we can also expand it all the way to use computer vision. Like you don't need to type, you just take a photo and then it directs you where you go. So this can expand into so many ways. And for us, the immediate challenge would be gathering useful data. We were lucky. The reason why the three city was there because the local government already had the data set out. And be quite frankly, each city, they also have their own web application. And sometimes they even develop their app, like a phone application. What we see is missing is an aggregate of connecting all the city information. The next step will be, yes, continue and clean the data and put all of them together. And that does take a lot of work before it can actually go down to like being super useful and user-friendly. Yeah, there's so many considerations.
If I can just jump in for a second, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, so yeah, a problem with gathering the data is there are actually a handful of vendors out there that provide services like this to cities. So they have the data and they all build their own widgets, and different cities use different vendors. So, but it's not data that we can necessarily access for free. So I think Nashmea has reached out to a couple vendors, but yeah, it's business. We think it would be nice if the cities could provide these data in some kind of common format. So we really appreciated when it was provided as open data as opposed to having to scrape it. So I think that would greatly facilitate a project like that, so that we can have a national or a North American database for recycling.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I think definitely it's a very useful product itself. So did you give the demo link to your friends? Did they try it out? Did they give you some suggestion, feedback that you would like to share here?
Well, I share it with some of my friends. Yeah, they find it useful. I think we also need to work on the layout on phones. So again, like it's set up for websites on the desktop. So that's another areas that I think we continue working on, certainly.
All right, I think that's really good. So are there any questions from the audience? Okay, I don't see any questions. So that's good. Thank you, Team Recycle Ninja. Thank you for your time.
Fantastic.
And, sorry, Stephanie, go ahead.
Nope, you're still talking. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't. You can.
Okay. I was just going to say amazing job, Recycle Ninja. Really love this project and it's very useful. So thank you so much. And with that, Zarreen, would you like to introduce the next team?
Sure. And just big congratulations and amazing job done by the three team we have seen so far. I'm super hyped and really impressed by all your presentations. Each of them has some uniqueness to it. And with that, let's move on to our next team, which is called Prep and Step. And we have Jacqueline Brothers as the only member of the team. So really excited to see what she has for us. So Jacqueline, do you like to just get started?
Yes, okay, hold on. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you all for attending today. And I'm going to be discussing my project Prep and Step. First, a little bit of information about me. This year, I transitioned into a career as a software engineer, but I previously worked as a speech therapist for 6.5 years. And the demo you'll be seeing today was coded with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So during my time as a speech therapist, I saw many children with special needs struggle with adapting to a change in their routine. Sudden changes such as a fire drill, a scheduling change, or a family emergency often result in some children feeling stressed or upset, as they often want to keep doing the activity they are used to doing, and they may not understand why they must do something else. Additionally, they may not understand abstract concepts, especially when presented only verbally, such as telling them the activity is done, it's finished, or it's being skipped. Visual schedules, an example of one right here, which you might see in a special education classroom, have different activities that are represented with pictures. And these are often easier for children to understand, and it can improve their reactions to unanticipated changes. While many special education classrooms and families, they might already use paper visual schedules, these are not always available, convenient, or practical. Prep and Step is an in-progress application that helps teachers and families prep upcoming events before they step out into their day, and they will be able to adjust their schedule in the moment whenever anything unexpected happens. So let's go ahead and take a look at a live demo of Prep and Step. So right here is just the main layout of Prep and Step. I have the logo up at the top, and you'll see two sections. On the left is the visual schedule section. So that's represented by 5 activities that have corresponding placeholder images and text box to name the activity. So let's say I'm a parent and I want to schedule what I want my child to do for that day. I'll go ahead and click on the first activity and take a look at all of the picture symbols that are available for me to use. So I can go ahead and say, well, I'd like my child to start their day with, let's say, eating breakfast, followed by maybe I'd like them to do some reading after breakfast for their class. And then how about we go to the park after they're done with reading for the day? And then following the park, they might have something come up like speech therapy is next in their routine. And then they can finish the structured part of their day with lunch. But let's say as I'm writing out the schedule, I'm planning ahead of time, something comes up where I'm seeing that the weather is going to be hotter in the day, and I really want my child to still go to the park. So what I could do is pick any activity and I can swap it out. I can change up the order. So this is a really useful feature for children to see. It's very similar to paper visual schedules where they would just see the activity or the picture symbol and the name of the activity. It helps the child with word to picture association so they can really understand that concept that's expressed in written word through that visual image. It helps their comprehension. It builds their vocabulary, which in turn can help their expressive language and be more descriptive. And it also helps their independence. Initially, a child, let's say they're working remotely or in a virtual school, they might want to, have family support first to create a visual schedule for them. But then as they feel more comfortable with this concept and working through the schedule, they can switch out any of the pictures themselves and they can rename any of the activities. So just that added independence for them was really important for me to have in this project. Essentially, the code that I used to make this layout, it has HTML, that's just the header, the sections, and the footer at the bottom. The footer also includes just credits to all the images that were used. So up at the top, the logo was actually 2 icons that I put together. I added the speech line or the speed lines. And then all of the picture symbols are from a really fantastic website called opensymbols.org. All of them are open licensed and just free to use for anyone. You can type any activity and it will come up with all sorts of different picture symbols that represent that activity. So with the HTML, I included IDs, classes, or in other words, keywords for the CSS and the JavaScript to listen for. With the CSS, that helped with the styling of the layout. I really wanted the layout to be simple for a child to use, easy to understand. I wanted it more accessible so that it could build their independence as well. And I didn't want it to have any too many distracting images or animations that could make it more confusing or frustrating for the child. And the CSS, it went into just determining the picture sizes, the font sizes, the different colors that were used, the rounded borders, and all of the picture symbols are actually here in this section, but they're hidden with the CSS. And the JavaScript was used for whenever the user clicks on an icon, it knows to show all the picture symbols that are currently available, but toggle them as visible. And then it waits for that second click so that it knows whatever specific picture symbol was clicked, it needs to replace that specific placeholder image that's being used in that visual schedule. All right. So let's see. So what did I learn from my first hackathon? There are a lot of next steps I want to do with Prep and Step just to make it more developed. I want to adjust the responsiveness and styling of the overall application so that it can be used more effectively on mobile devices. I would allow the user to save and edit the inputted text, add more picture symbols to represent different activities or categories, and include the option for the user to upload their own images. Let's say the child has a favorite book that's really an important part of their routine. The user can take a picture of that book and upload it into the application. I also have other additional features such as a search function, so they can search a specific activity, which would bring up different images from the Open Symbol site, and an offline mode as well, especially when they have inconsistent internet connection or they're on the go and they don't have access to internet. Despite my challenges with this project, I improved my knowledge of JavaScript, and I learned that I can create something that people can use in their day-to-day lives, which is pretty cool. All right, so that concludes my presentation for Prep and Step. I want to thank everyone for attending today. I want to thank everyone at Women Who Code for offering this amazing hackathon experience. I have my LinkedIn and Twitter as well for anyone that would like to connect. I love connecting with different people in tech. And thank you so much.
That's amazing. Thanks so much, Jacqueline. This is a great project, and I personally love the simplicity that you were talking about. So that simple layout really feels like, you know, it increases the usability from the parents, especially from the kids' perspective. So that's amazing. Let's see if we have some questions. So we have one question from Jolene, and the question is, how does the child see this? Is it on a screen they have access to?
Yeah, so so far it works the best on, let's say, a standard browser for laptops or computers. Tablets, it works okay too. Just as long as they have that screen, they can see both sections and they can see that visual schedule as well.
Awesome. If any of you have any other questions about this project, please type it in the chat. In the meantime, I'm curious to know, like, how can you increase, because I feel like this is a great project and it can have a really high impact on the kids' life and for parents as well. How do you see you can increase the usability of this project? Like, also, how can you increase the reach? Because how do parents know that such tool exists? And yeah, are you planning on maybe partnering with some existing organizations? Because you are a speech therapist, so do you know of any existing tools that's there that you can collaborate with, or anything around that line, if you can elaborate?
Yes, great question. I do know a number of alternative communication services. I'm in touch with people that use different different devices for nonverbal students. And I think this would be a great addition to that. So I'm definitely looking forward to reaching out to those companies that partner with different school districts, different nonprofits as well, once it's more developed, just to get the word out, because I do see, and I've heard from families in the past that there is a big need for a virtual option to this, where sometimes the paper visual schedule, they just can't modify it when they're on the go. They don't have the right symbols, or it gets torn or dirty, and having that virtual option, it really motivates the child too. A lot of children love using games and different interactive things on their devices or screens. So it can be more reinforcing to them in that way. And yeah, ultimately, I would love to see this used in different special education classrooms.
Awesome. And I think we will be rooting for you to take it to the next level. Thanks so much, Jacqueline. I don't see any other questions. Would you like to share the demo link to your website in the chat for others to try?
Sure thing.
Fantastic. Well, wonderful job, Jacqueline. And I'm so impressed you worked as a one-person team and you created something really amazing. And there's so many possibilities, I think, too, of where you can take this project next. So I was very inspired by it. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And with that, we are moving on to our next team, which is called Rescuelytics. And the team members here are Kayla, Joseph, Ivan, Cara, and Chris. So Rescuelytics, would you like to start with your presentation?
Yeah, thank you so much, Zarreen. Okay, let's share. I have a little bit of slides, and then I'm going to attempt a live demo. Hopefully our app does not break. We did not pre-record it, so we will give that a shot. Okay, is my slides showing well?
Looks great.
Great, okay, cool. So my name is Kayla, and I'm going to be sharing my team's project. So our team, we called ourselves Rescuelytics, which stands for rescue animals, and then analytics. So this is a little bit about our team. So our team was myself, Evan was a developer on the team, Kara contributed as an analyst, Chris contributed as a data scientist, and Joseph as an analyst as well. So and also mention all of us live in Chicago, so we had this sort of in common, and all of us are animal lovers. So this was like an inspiration for the social good topic that we focused on. So in Chicago, here's like a couple statistics summarizing a little bit about the like rescue animal or like animals living in shelters without homes statistics. So this is from in 2020 for the Chicago Animal Care Control, which is the, there's a lot of like rescue organizations. This is the one that's like part of the city. So they took in nearly 6,000 stray animals, and 2,000 were surrendered by owners. So like an owner said, I can no longer take care of my pet and gave it up. Nearly 2,000 animals were euthanized in that year alone. And there were about 1,000 that were adopted into homes. So I think kind of seeing these numbers and in these being like just in our city alone, we all were very inspired to ask the question, like, how can we help animals that don't have a home or like living in a shelter to get them adopted and into homes? So to start learning about how we could answer this question, we partnered up with a nonprofit in our area called Rescue Chicago. This is a nonprofit that works directly with the Chicago Animal Care Control to provide volunteers, to provide like material goods, and to help get the word out about finding people to adopt some of these dogs that are in need. So we met with people at this nonprofit and learned from their like expertise and their knowledge about what could be helpful and how we could help make an impact. And so based off of this, we came up with our challenge statement. So from talking with them, one of the big things we learned was that they don't always understand why or which dogs are like likely to leave or less likely to leave their shelter. And they thought that if they did know why animals weren't leaving, that they could like share this information with the public and maybe inspire people who are considering adopting to adopt dogs and to specifically adopt some of these dogs that are like at a highest risk of not being adopted. And so for our hackathon project to address this, we decided to build out an analytics dashboard that is interactive and like can let people explore the data themselves to discover some of these trends and discover reasons why dogs may be not adopted or not very quickly adopted. And so we built this dashboard and made it publicly available so anyone can jump on it. So a little bit about the tech stack we used. So our first step of our project was to get a database. So we ended up using web scraping and doing our own data cleaning. We used a website called Pet Finder, which is a website where people can post animals that are up for adoption and information about these dogs. And so they have an API, which is amazing and great for a data scientist to see. So we used Python to collect data from this API, and we used pandas for cleaning up the data to make it more like analytics friendly. Then we hosted all of this data in a database, again, using Python, also using SQL. And we put it in a Postgres database using Heroku, which I heard a couple other teams use Heroku too. So I think that's a kind of cool trend and neat tool. And then finally, to help make our data like more easy for analytics, accessible even to people who are not like as tech savvy, we built our data dashboard using Python and specifically using Streamlit with pandas and matplotlib kind of running in the background, and also using SQL and Heroku. Okay, so now I'm gonna jump over and do a live demo, kind of show some stats from in our dashboard itself to give a little idea of how it works. So and my partner or teammate Joseph will share a link to this in the chat so everyone can explore it themselves if you're interested. But so the way we design this is basically to let you explore statistics of dogs' length of stay. So when we say length of stay, this is the amount of time that they were like listed up for adoption in the shelter or on Pet Finder before they got adopted. So if a dog has a really long length of stay, this is like more detrimental because it is more like costly to whatever shelter is. Oh, I see some pets popping up on Zoom, so I'm glad there's other like pet people in this call. So so here's a couple like insights we found, but I think it's still like we're exploring more trends. And so this is kind of like just like a first jumping off point. So this first tab, the first page we have is showing trends in different breeds of dogs and how long they are in the shelter. So, and we made it so you can filter to show whatever breeds you're interested in. So I'm just going to filter to a few of the most common breeds in our city in shelters. So pit bulls, get my notes, pit bulls, Labradors, Chihuahuas, and Beagles were the 4 most common breeds in our data set. And so something I thought was interesting, and this kind of matched with what like from experience that the volunteers at the nonprofit we worked with saw, was that, so here our graph is showing different breeds, and then the y-axis is the number of days before this animal was adopted on average over our data set. So you can see, for example, a Beagle, it took about like 2 months, a little longer than 2 months before they got adopted on average. But in contrast to pit bull, it took almost 5 months, over at least 5 months before they are adopted. So for example, I think like seeing this, this would say like if someone's considering adopting and they're open to adopting a pit bull, they could have like an even bigger impact by making that breed choice. So that's like one example of the types of insights. And then another kind of aspect we're interested in was also doing like comparisons by different filters. So the data we got from Pet Finder, it included a lot of data about the animals. So things like what gender each dog was, what size it was, like how big the animal was, and also some like behavioral information. So like if the dog might do well in an environment with children or in a household that has other dogs. So I'm gonna pull an example of special needs. So this is something like if the dog has maybe like special healthcare issues or for any reason like a special need. So when you pick any filters, the graph at the bottom here, it updates in real time to reflect the length of stays for these same breeds, but like within the subpopulation that like reflects your filters. So for example, now you can see like, so this left bar chart is showing special needs, the right is for non-special needs. So for example, if you're a pit bull and special needs, your length of stay is 500 days, so like over a year. So like, I think this is also impactful because if someone's considering adopting and if they're open to a special needs animal pit bull, like they can have even bigger impact because this is a dog who would otherwise be really hard to adopt. And even without special needs, right, like pit bulls still have a longer time, similar to a Labrador as well. So I'll just kind of quickly touch on some of the other pages, but like definitely would say feel free to explore yourself too. So outside of breed, we also built a page to help you explore other attributes of the dogs and their length of stay. So you can see on the left here is different like categorical variables. So you could look at size, coat, age of the animal, and here we'll show like the categories within that you can like select or deselect. And similar to the other page, it will make a bar chart of how long the stay is on average for animals of these ages. So you can see like, for example, a puppy that's very young, on average only is in a shelter 2 months. Whereas anything older than that is going to be in the shelter for longer, for like more days. Yeah, and then so down here, same idea, you can like apply any set of filters to look at, you know, differences. So for example, like maybe I filtered a female and male, and I can see like, oh, the trends, you know, by age are not too different, for example. Yeah. And then we also, I think, so those were all just like the number of days in the shelter. We also made some other pages that are the same like categories, but instead of showing how long they're in the shelter, it's showing like the number of dogs. So for example, if I go breed trends by count, I can again like look at the same 4 breeds as we were looking at before. And beagle. And so this one was kind of interesting to me. So we saw before that like pit bulls had on average the most days in the shelter, but here we're saying actually the most common breed is the Labrador. There was almost 13 or over 13,000 labs in our data set of Chicago. So this, and same kind of crosstabs you can look at. So this, you know, I think it was like interesting of what we kind of found from these trends just from our, you know, first kind of looking around with the tool. But I think what's exciting is like we can keep building out from this. So I'm going to jump back to my slides. Okay, cool. So a couple of things our team learned. So a lot of these, like the tech stack tools were new to us. I think each team member, at least one of the tech stack tools was new. So we each developed our skills in that regard. And also our team, I think, was like unique and exciting that we all came from very different like technical backgrounds and had very different like skill levels and skill like domains. Like, for example, some of us were front-end engineers, some of us are data scientists. And so finding like a common ground to collaborate on people with different like areas of expertise was another like fun experience that we all got to share. And we have like, so many ideas for next steps. I put 2 here, but there is like 1,000 in our heads. So one example that we think would be really impactful is another piece of info that Pet Finder gives you in their from their API is like which organization listed that dog for adoption. So there's like a lot of different adoption shelters in our city, and we could also use like those IDs to understand trends like specific in different shelters. And then also we chose to focus on our city of Chicago, but Pet Finder as a data source, it is in the whole country. So we're also interested in expanding to pull data from other cities so we can see how Chicago compares to other places as well. Oh, okay, so that was my last slide. I was like, why isn't it advancing? So yeah, so thank you so much and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Rescuelytics, and thanks so much, Kayla, for this amazing presentation. You can see in the chats, like all the pet lovers are jumping in right now with excitement. And on that, I think we have the first question from one of our pet lover fellows. So the question is, do you have plans to expand this dashboard to include pets like cats and other animals?
Yeah, that's something I would love to. I personally am a cat owner, so I have 3 cats, so I also fully love that. I think that's definitely something we thought about, and you can actually Pet Finder has like a very wide range of animals. It has a lot of cats, a lot of dogs, and also like birds and other breeds or other like species, I guess. So the data is there. I think it would be super cool and that would like fit really well with it. I think we also have so many other ideas, and because we are like working with the like a dog focused nonprofit first, I think this maybe will happen like further down the line. But yeah, I mean, there's needs for adopting of every animal, so I think that would be really cool.
Awesome. I see that we have a few other questions, and Joseph is doing a great job in answering all the questions. So maybe one question just you can add to what Joseph said already is that based on your explorations, what variables have you found that have the highest correlation with the length of stay? Any really surprising findings that you discovered?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that so when I was doing the demo, I talked about breed. I think that's one of the biggest, and age was also very correlated. Another one that was very highly correlated was like does well with if the pet does well with children or does well with other dogs. That was also like very strongly related to how long the animal would be up for adoption. And I think something that surprised us was, and this is something that's also like one of our next steps that we want to work on is basically that there were a lot of outliers in the data. And I think questions of like data quality in some cases, because the Pet Finder as a data source, it relies on, right, at some point a human has to go into the system and say like, yes, this dog has been adopted. And we kind of found that was like mostly updated in like what seemed reasonable to us, but there were a lot of cases where like we'd see a dog that had been listed for like 10 years or something, which maybe is possible, but like pretty unlikely. So definitely finding some of those outliers was surprising, and is something that we're also going to focus on when we keep working on this project next.
Amazing. Next, we have a question from Ali and Jen. So the question is, do you think it would be possible as a next step to connect rescue dogs in need with families who want them?
I think that would be so amazing. I think that's like ultimately, that's the goal of like, that's the social impact that we would love to see happen. And I think we as a team have been talking about some other like next projects that we think would be really cool to do. Like, for example, another thing we heard from talking to Rescue Chicago as an organization, they mentioned that sometimes like one challenge that we didn't tackle in this project, but I think I would love to in a future project, was that they have a hard time when someone comes in and is interested in adopting a dog. They have a hard time like kind of deciding which dogs to show to this person and like knowing ahead of time which ones will be a good fit for them. Just because when someone comes in, we don't, the organization, the shelter doesn't know a ton about the person interested in adopting to make a choice of what pets to show them. And so an idea we've been sort of talking about or thinking about is something like where you can, if you're interested in adopting, you can kind of like flip through pets and say, oh, I like that dog, I don't like that dog. And we can use some like machine learning to learn what types of dogs you like or would be interested in. So when you show up at a shelter, we can use like an algorithm to say, oh, these are the dogs we think that would be like a great fit for you to help make you more likely to adopt someone.
Great. I think we are getting so many questions in the chat. It just shows how excited people are. Maybe we will take one last question about the tech stack. So a few people are asking a question about how did you manage to add the charts interactively to the website? Because it looks very cool. This question is asked by Mariam. And I think there was another question regarding that from Maggie. So if you can just elaborate a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So we used Streamlit, which is like written in Python, but it is beautiful because it, as a library, like it handles a lot of that interactivity for you. So you, as long as you sort of have your data and can specify like what type of plot you want and what you want to be in like the hover bar or like scroll, like it's all kind of done for you. So it is a very cool package. If anyone's interested in making like an interactive web page, I would super encourage learning about it, because it's once you are like comfortable using Python, using Streamlit is I think not too difficult to learn like on top of it.
Amazing. I think we covered all the questions from the chat. And thank you again for this amazing presentation. The idea is super cool and it has high social impact, and really looking forward to how this unfolds in the future. So thanks so much again, Kayla, and the entire team for this great presentation.
Amazing, amazing project. And I'm very excited that you'll be expanding to cats and other animals.
All right, so last but not the least, obviously, is we have Team Oceanus, and the team members are John, Justina, and Regina. So Team Oceanus, would you please go ahead and present what you have for us today?
Sure, I'll just share my screen now. Sorry, I'm actually having trouble sharing the screen. Just bear with me 1 second. If anyone else has the presentation there, could they do it? I can't seem to do it.
I'm trying to open it.
Okay, do you have it? Can you
see it? Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. So our project is used machine learning and natural language processing and to create a fake climate news detection app. And before we begin, we'll make a first short introduction round. I'm Regina. I'm a student in statistics and data science in Munich, Germany. And I like to participate in my free time in data science for social good projects and communities. Tina?
Hi, I'm Justina. I currently work on a data science team at a fintech company, and I'm always looking to continuously grow and learn in the data science space.
Hi, and I'm Jean, and I'm from a fundraising background, so transitioning into data science. So that's just a brief intro, and I'll move on to our challenge statement now. So recent studies have shown that credible and positive climate news reporting can change people's viewpoints about climate change, and particularly for people who oppose climate action. So in order to make people aware of fake climate news, we used methods from natural language processing, statistics, and machine learning to be able to inform users about the credibility of any climate news article. So this is our approach, and Justina will now talk about the data that we used and the pre-processing steps.
So we worked on creating a fake news classifier using a fake news dataset that we found on Kaggle. And this dataset had labels about whether or not the news is fake, as well as other attributes such as the title, author, and the text itself. And in the next slide, I'll go over some pre-processing steps. Since we are working with text data, there are a few steps that you have to take for pre-processing, such as tokenizing the words, lowercasing, removing any redundant phrases or patterns. We noticed HTML tags and hyperlinks that had to be removed, as well as any special symbols or punctuations. So some of the analysis we've done is we wanted to understand how the qualities of fake news differentiate from accurate news. So to name a few of the analysis done, we compared the use of punctuation and symbols in the title and the title and text length in both fake and accurate news. And then we also analyzed the word frequencies by visualizing word clouds and the n-grams. And we also applied sentiment analysis in the text to understand which words contribute the most to having a positive and negative sentiment in climate news. And now Gina will tell us more about the classifier.
Yeah, so to build this classifier, which is basically a statistical or machine learning algorithm, we need to first think about how machines understand text. And machines can't understand the words and sentences like human beings can. They can only work with like numbers and structures of numbers like matrices and vectors. And we need to encode our text data into these number structures. And the pre-processing steps that just explained and presented, those are the first steps towards this classification and encoding. And after this text is encoded properly into these numbers, we can use different algorithms to learn the properties from this given text and figure out why they are classified into fake news or reliable news category. And the algorithms that learn these models, these classifiers, they were trained on the Kaggle data set because those there were already labels present, which are necessary to learn and train a model. And there are the first part, which is the encoding, which you can see on the left, is the representation of text into numbers. Machine learning can also be used there. There are different methods to do this encoding. There are classical methods, which are based on word frequencies mostly. And there are also deep learning methods, which are kind of unexplained yet, and also other probabilistic methods. And also for the second part on the right side, the classification, there are also the classical methods, which are based on statistics, and more advanced methods like deep learning. And in general, for both tasks, the embedding or the representation and the classification, the more sophisticated models outperform the simpler ones. But the problem with the more sophisticated models is that they are harder to understand, and some are completely out of reach. For example, deep learning models are considered black box models, so we don't really know what happens in the black box. And for this reason, for our project, we decided to use classical models so that we can better understand what is happening under the hood. And therefore, we use simple word frequencies to encode the text data. And then for the classification, we use a logistic regression model. And now I will share my screen and we will have a look at the app results. If I can. Jean, can you maybe stop sharing because I can't share? Thank you. Okay. Can you see my browser?
No.
Can't see my browser. Why? Now? Maybe?
No. Yes.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So as you can see, this is our app in the neutral state, basically. We have a short introductory text, what it does, and a simple text input field with a submit button. It's running on Streamlit, which is amazing, as the previous team already stated. And yeah, it's built on Python, and we use we basically use Python for all the projects with different libraries. And Streamlit is one of the frameworks used to make it a web app. So for just to showcase how we would use this, we selected 2 articles, which are not present in the training data set, but are just other articles that we could like categorize by viewing them. The first one is from this blog, and as you can see from the title, you can probably guess in which category it will go. And the second one is just an article on a climate news website about like a national park and how it's affected by wildfires. So first, if this is the article from the blog, which is pasted in here, and when we hit submit, yeah, sorry, my computer is slow. Okay, then you will get the result displayed with the percentage with which probability it is categorized into an accurate or an inaccurate news. As we saw, this article already looks like it's fake, and the algorithm places it with high likelihood into the fake news category. And additionally, we present to the user a short introductory analytics so that he can see what the text is about. We have a word cloud that displays the most frequently used words in this in the text, and also the bigram frequency, which can showcase what are the most frequently used word combinations. And additionally to that, we also added a small sentiment analysis graph so that the user can get a feel for how objective or like emotional this text is. And compared to this one, let's see here the inaccuracy or the accuracy. And compared to this one, we can quickly check the other article. And as you can see, this text is classified to be inaccurate, reliable news. And also the word distribution shows that there are more like really biological terms like the name and the client and the wildfire, and compared to this one where there are more general terms like people and like energy, and there you can already get a feel for what how different they are in their composition. So, and this concludes our quick demo of the app, and I will hand over to Jean. So I can stop sharing. Okay. Jean, can you?
Yes, I'm still getting a message saying the other person is still sharing.
But I stopped sharing. At least I thought I stopped sharing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. There, can you see again?
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, thank you, Gina. So I'll quickly just go over the review and just some of the improvements that we came together to think about on the next steps. So first of all, we want to kind of understand what qualifies as fake news. And to do that, we'll look at more analysis, some topic modeling, look at different language models and compare them, and then fine tuning of the classification models. And I think Gina, I was just speaking to her before, is looking at deep learning models as well. So that's just another angle because it's such a broad area. So it's, yeah, there's a lot of options on which direction to go. And then another thing is to center the user. It's like, who are we building this for? So, and what type of thing do we want to make for them? Something that will automate the input, something that displays a list of classified articles. And then Gina also mentioned to take it one step further, maybe creating a browser extension where people can see, there will be a pop-up and people can see how likely a climate news story will be fake or reliable. So, and then outside of the scope of this project, we're kind of linking it back to social media data. So looking at how the information flows. So once these articles are released, who's reading them and how are they shared? And what's the response on social media? And looking at the credibility of those users in the responses. So, and then just what we learned. So yeah, a lot of new technology for me. Like you heard my teammates talking there, they're amazing. So it was a lot of new stuff for me. So language representation, the different classification models, and everyone's a fan of Streamlit. So yeah, I think we're all introduced to that as well. And then project management. So in terms of working between different time zones, that was interesting as well, but we really made it work really well, I think. And then also inspiring connections. So yeah, just the different knowledge bases that we had and where we were coming from. And just like we kept on at it and we were looking at things from different angles all the time. So just that curiosity and the enthusiasm. So yeah, I think, yeah, that's it. So open it back up to the judges and questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Team Oceanus and all the team members for this amazing presentation. And you can see in the chat that our members are super excited to see this project. And it was really cool to try it hands-on. I personally tried it myself as well. It was so much fun. we have some questions already in the chat. So first question is from Maggie. It says, how likely is the classification result is a false positive? Have you done any kind of analysis of that?
So we experimented on that. That's why we we did extensive exploratory analysis, because the problem is the encoding of the text, the accuracy and F1 score and whatever you can like think of as a statistician to guess or like approximate the accuracy of the false positive, false negative, etc. Yeah, it depends on how the pre-processing is done. There is a big difference, for example, in some models, how if you remove stop words like by and in, or if you leave them in. And that's why we are continuing to experiment on that and try to figure out how the best pre-processing would work and how that can maybe give us clearer results. It's not quite clear. I'm not sure. Does this answer the question?
I think it does, but maybe Maggie can tell. Maggie, does it answer your question? In the meantime, we can move on with another question from Undine. And the question is, can you please say where are the difficulties might lie? As example, if I enter some news article on the current heat wave, it does seem to pick up on the sensationalism. I can't speak. So I think the question is mostly about like what are some difficulties in this fake news classification?
So generally, or in this, like in our setting, in the way we handled the algorithms we use.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's about your project specifically, like what kind of difficulties you might have faced for doing the classification on fake articles, because they were saying, giving an example that if they enter some news article on the current heat wave, so it tries to pick up the sensational information. So how does that work specifically? Maybe if you can elaborate on that.
So I'm not sure if I get your point with the sensationalism, what it picks up. You mean our app picks up the sensationalism, or how it's classifying the news?
Can I ask directly?
Yeah.
So I just went to like an article about the heat wave in Europe right now. So this is about weather right now, and it obviously has a lot of things, and like thousands of people could die and so on.
Yep.
So the result is it said, I just took a passage, it said 94% inaccurate. So like how narrow do you have to be really on climate change? Do you have any idea for it to get accurate results?
So okay, now I understand the question. Thank you. So we did some exploration, like statistically, for what Justina already explained, and tried to figure out how they differ. For example, more reliable news have the tendency to also use longer words sometimes, and less emojis that need to be removed, or less like sensationalist text and sensationalist words, and also like punctuation, like this unreliable news. You can see that they, for example, use more exclamation marks and things like that. And basically, so our algorithm for the classification is pretty simple. It's just a logistic regression, so it's not the best performing model, but it's explainable. That's why we use it. And this picks up most of these specific features, like the words that were used, how often those words were used, and that's how it's done. And also we didn't explore, I don't know how long your passage exactly was, but we trained the classifier on longer text, like complete news text. And there is a difference between short text, like tweet length, like 200 characters, to really long, full news articles. So we only use the long news articles, but we're going to explore the short ones too, and see how we have to adapt the model to the shorter text.
Awesome. So I think that answers your question, Andine. Great. So let's move on to the next question from Kayla. The question is, how does the model perform on data that was different from your sample distribution? For example, you trained on climate articles, but what if you make an inference on a different domain, such as an article about sports or entertainment?
So that's also one of the things we want to explore further, because we use this labeled Kaggle data set, which is not specific to climate change, but is generally fake news. So you can find any category in there. And then we used it on climate data. And we want to tackle this with further research and explore more, go deeper into the climate direction to figure out if there are differences in the classification performance.
Great. Maybe we will take one last question. And the question is from Ali and Jen. And the question is, which was the best performing model? So I think you touched on that during the presentation, but if you can explain a bit more, like what was the best model and why do you think it was the best performing model?
We tried to experiment on the Kaggle data with different models, but the best performings are always the ones with the complex embeddings that capture the context of the text, not only the word count, and also deep learning classification. And unfortunately, we don't know what happens in the deep learning or why some language model captures which context and how and why this outperforms the other ones. That's what we want to further explore to make it more explainable. We wanted to understand the structure of fake news versus not fake news, and that's why we decided to go for a classical. But the more complex models are always outperforming. So the best ones are, I think, a combination of convolutional neural network and I think this long short-term memory, just if you know what that is, for the person who asked the question. And also, so I just put some things on Kaggle, tried out some embeddings, randomly chosen, not really thought about, and they are also really like SIBO model, but they are outperforming the classical ones, but they are like in same range of good performance in general.
Amazing. And in the chats, we are seeing a lot of appreciation for your project. And someone was asking about the GitHub repository link. I think Justina just shared it. So
perfect.
That's amazing. I think that was all. I just want to thank Team Oceanus and Regina, Justina, and Sheen for this amazing presentation. The idea was really cool and really helpful. And we could actually try by ourselves the demo, so it was really cool. And stay tuned for the results in a bit. With that, I think we just end our project demos. So over to you, Stephanie.
First off, we just want to say thank you so much to all the teams who shared your amazing projects today. So just want to give everyone a big round of applause. All the judges were incredibly impressed with all of your projects. And we were so pleased with absolutely everything that we saw. And judging was so challenging, trust me. It was just like, I just want to give everyone, you know, top marks all across the board, and because everyone did such a spectacular job. So everyone should be really incredibly proud of yourselves for your amazing work. And before we go forward with announcing the top teams, Anjali or Zarreen, was there anything else you wanted to add on to that?
I think I will just echo to what you said, Stephanie. I was super impressed with all the projects, especially how thorough they were. And some of the projects, they were really well thought out. The ideas were really unique. And I personally loved how the team members actually used their personal experiences to come up with the ideas. So they were actually thinking from their own experience, like what is one thing in their locality that's a problem and they can solve. And maybe from their professional point of view, like someone as a speech therapist, she came up with a great tool for the speech therapy problem. But so all in all, I really love this personal touch and how people from different geography, different time zones, different ideas came up together under one umbrella due to this hackathon and made this amazing project. So that to me, all of them are winners already. So the top teams, I think it doesn't matter at this point, but we are just really excited to see who made it to top 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with both of you, Stephanie and Zarreen. And the teams, everybody was like really wonderful. All the teams had very thoughtful ideas and the great social impact as well. So yeah, really looking forward to what all of you will be building next. And yeah, over to you, Stephanie.
Fantastic. Thank you, Zarreen and Anjali, and, you know, just remarkable projects by everyone. We were so inspired by everything. And I agree that just the diversity of the teams coming together was amazing. So thank you everyone so much for all of your hard work. And with that, we are going to move forward because everyone is at the edge of their seats waiting for the results. So let's go ahead. And as a reminder, all of the top 3 winning teams are going to receive the opportunity to present your projects at the WWCode Block Data Pi Summit, which is this coming Friday on July 22nd. So we are very excited. And sorry about this, but my kitty is here. And so let's just have her join in on the excitement. And all right, away we go. So the top 3 teams are, in random order, Multicultural Marvels. Big round of applause. Amazing. The second team, Recycle Ninja. Yay. And the third team, keeping in mind, everyone, all 6 teams are winners, but we had to pick 3. Rescuelytics. It was very close. It was so close in the scores, trust me. So big congratulations to our top 3 teams. You are invited to present at Block Data Pi on July 22nd. I will be sending out an email with further information on how you can prepare for that. I mean, the presentation will be, you know, pretty much the same. And so we'll just fill you in on logistics and make sure that you're all set up. So please look for that email probably Monday. And we are just so excited. And if I didn't have a cat right here, I would be clapping and applauding as well. So big round of applause for the top 3 teams, and amazing work by everyone. So as a reminder, I don't know, Anjali or Zarreen, if you could pop that link in the chat for the joining Block Data Pi Summit. Please make sure you're registered. The hackathon presentations are currently scheduled for, I believe, 10:50 Eastern. So I believe that's the time. I hope I'm correct. And yeah, you'll receive more information. And so we just want to give a big thank you to everyone so much. Please join our community. Here are some links with our Slack channels, our member pages, and our social media, so you can join all 3 of our technical tracks. And once again, just thank you all so much. If you were a presenter, please stick around after I stop this recording, or after we stop this recording, and we're going to have just a brief celebration. So again, thank you everyone so much for a wonderful, wonderful job throughout the hackathon. We've really appreciated your efforts, and we're truly inspired. Anjali or Zarreen, do you have anything else to add?
Maybe I will just say a few words to the team who didn't make it to the top 3. Just wanted to say, like, the differences between each team in the scores were really, really like nominal, really small, because it was at some point, it was really hard for us to pick the top 3, to be honest, because all of you were so amazing. So no need to be, you know, feel less motivated. This hackathon, you made it to the finals. You got to present in today's demo day. It was a huge achievement for all of you. So I just wish you all a great success and very good luck for your upcoming hackathons and the projects that you made today. Don't stop here, just, you know, move forward. This is just the beginning. Anjali, do you like to add any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I think Stephanie, Zarreen, you have very much summarized it. I think the team, all the teams did a wonderful job. I loved all the ideas that you had presented. It's very thoughtful, and I'm sure that you are going to build many more innovative projects as well in the future. And do not be disheartened if your team did not get selected in the top 3. But all of you, like we mentioned, the judges' scores were very close. And if you have missed by a very little margin. So that is something to be proud of. And all of you are amazing. And keep doing the great work and inspire everybody, because I'm sure, like, I'm inspired by seeing all the presentations today. And I can see from the chat, there are many more individuals who are inspired by today's presentation. Thank you to all the team members. It was a wonderful experience. It was great. I mean, it was an amazing experience for us to organize it, to judge the wonderful projects that came across. So thank you to each one of you.
Fantastic. So thank you so much, everyone, presenters, anyone who submitted a project, everyone who attended today's session to encourage and cheer on and support our teams. Just a big thank you to everyone. You really made this a phenomenal hackathon. It's not over yet, but you made this a phenomenal hackathon, and we very much appreciate every one of you. So thank you all so much, and we look forward to seeing you at future events.